And catch me up on this. Is there a similar partnership with any other high schools that either Central or Intermark has? Or is this kind of like a first of its kind?
This is the first one.
Okay.
It happened last year, because a lot of time in politics, you think of an idea, but it's about delivering, and this man likes to get things done, so we made it happen. So the two schools that I visited this time, you know, the Catholic school yesterday, grade A students, they were brilliant. Do you know what? Their intelligence was fantastic. What I mean by intelligence, background, they even knew it was my birthday, you know, and they sang me happy birthday. So they were,
did their homework.
Absolutely amazing. What I meant by intelligence, how did they went and checked out as my birthday? They were amazing. So what we're looking to do is, you know, not just simply Central High, the other schools, linking them up back in my constituency. So across the spectrum, at different ages, at different generations, because at the end of the day, for me in life, and also for French, is about connecting people to people. And when you do that, you suddenly realize we all want the same thing. And also it ensures that we can work together to make the world a better place for all.
When I was in the UK last February with Rehman, one thing that came across to me, we had, this is a bipartisan group, so Democrats, Republicans, we had Labor members, Tories, Conservatives, and Liberal Democrats in this meeting. There was a universal desire, I think, on both parties and the parties in the UK to see our young people invest in the special relationship between the US and the UK. Yeah. The critical trade and economic and national security ties, but also the cultural ties that have been so important to both countries. And I think the UK and the US partnership in the post-World War II world have led not only freedom and trade expansion, but the elimination of poverty for billions because of the policies that our countries espouse. That's what makes the relationship special, not just one political relationship between one president and one prime minister.
And then have the different video conferences between students and things like that started since this was announced about 6 months ago?
They certainly have. I was very pleased to go to the library at Rehman Grammar School when they had their first interaction. So students at Rehman Grammar School, you know, we're engaging with students at Little Rock on virtual learning. So I'm grateful to the State Department for helping, supporting French and I in delivering on that, because that's what it is. I think it's about getting people to people and seeing the connections and the conversations that they have, because a lot of time what they realize is that they can learn from one another, they share ideas, and it's about people development, the growth mindset, which helps bring this about. So yes, in answering your question, Central High School to Rehman Grammar School was one. We would love to do more, and speaking to French and speaking to some of the students yesterday, you know, I want to go back, so hopefully by next year, you know, when this man is re-elected to the Congress, getting more schools connected in our constituents. But the other thing I want to say is not just simply, you know, about schools, it's about business to business. You know, and when French visited my constituency, I took him to Copper Rivet Distillery, you know, a new distillery, you know, set up by a local businessman in my constituency. And on the return, he took me to is it Rock House?
Rocktown. We took him to Phil Brandon's.
That's the best place.
So in England, they're producing gallons of gin, no surprise. But here, I think Rehman was so impressed with what Phil's built here in their new facility at Rocktown. So we see that business collaboration, our venture center and our fintech work at the venture center here in Little Rock. We also connected with the venture groups in his constituency. And then lastly, we share a terrific military heritage. The Royal Engineers are headquartered at the mouth of the Thames in his constituency, and we of course have Little Rock Air Force Base. So we're trying to, from an economic, military, and education point of view, build our friendships across our constituencies.
And so when French visited my district, I took him over to the Royal Engineers, where he was shown around by the Brigadier, Matt Baisley, and we looked at military cooperation in relation to, you have the air base here, you took me to the air base when I came, and so therefore the cooperation, the understanding across all sectors. And yesterday I was absolutely privileged and honored to meet some of your veterans, you know, and for me it's, you meet individuals who put their neck on the line day in, day out for our freedom and liberty back in the United Kingdom and here in the United States. And to see how French interacts with them, having a dedicated team of 4 staff who are former veterans themselves to ensure that those individuals get the help and the support they need. You know, it's a different system to what we have back in the United Kingdom, but I can go away looking at how I can now work and develop that kind of system back at home in the United Kingdom.
Okay, and then since you brought up the economy a little bit, I did want to get into Brexit a little bit, just because we have a big meeting coming up. So the UK voted back in 2016 to leave the EU, but it actually happens next year, I guess, pending some discussions. So in the meantime, there's this big meeting coming up in a couple of weeks to talk Brexit, and that's of course before the EU summit. So there's not really a clear deal from what I've been seeing, but your Prime Minister, Theresa May, says that she won't delay Brexit at all. But what do you think is going to happen? I know it's hard to predict, but moving forward.
Well, look, the thing I would say to anyone and everywhere around the world is if you believe in democracy, you believe in democratic institutions, then if you're going to ask your public to vote in a referendum on the kind of relationship they want with the European Union in our case, the public had a choice. And what we have made very clear is that we are leaving the European Union, we're not leaving Europe. Europe is our brothers and sisters. We have a historic, deep relationship, shared values. We're not leaving Europe, we're leaving the European Union, and we have to. We have no choice. We have no choice as in the government. We came into government, we promised that we would deliver on Brexit. And so therefore we have no choice but to put into practice the public mandate given to us. So 2019 in March is the day when we leave the European Union. We, through our Prime Minister, who's working exceptionally hard to get the best deal for the United Kingdom. And I'll be frank with you, we want the best deal for the our counterparts in Europe as well. Europe is our largest trading partner, after the United States. So we want a good deal for them because it's about jobs for them and also it's about jobs back home in the United Kingdom. However, you've got to make sure it's a fair deal. And that's why we've made it very clear to our European partners. We will do everything we can, work day and night to get the best deal for both of us. However, if we're given a bad deal, the United Kingdom will never accept a bad deal. And we made it very clear, a no deal is better than a bad deal. So there are discussions going on, and also what the United Kingdom has said to our European counterparts. We have treated our European counterparts with respect all the way, and we've been fair all the way. We want them to give us the same respect and treat the United Kingdom in a similar kind of way. However, I'm confident that we can get a deal between the United Kingdom and the European counterparts, but there is no going back on the vote that was cast in 2016 by the British public, who said they want a different kind of relationship with the European Union, and that comes down to 2 points. 2 points, we have to leave the single market and we have to leave the customs union, and the proposal put forward by the Prime Minister is to ensure that we deliver on that mandate given to us by the British public.
Why should the U.S. be watching these discussions so closely?
Very, very important. British firms employ 1 million Americans. We have tens of thousands of people working in the UK, particularly in the financial services industry. We import a great deal of industrial chemicals and pharmaceuticals from the UK. And President Trump's committed to a bilateral arrangement with the UK immediately after they're eligible to negotiate with that. Part of the awkwardness here is that the UK can't enter into a bilateral arrangement with anyone else until this Brexit position is done and completed in March next year. So we're just in a waiting game, but we want to be first in line to be a partner with the United Kingdom and preserve the growth we have between our two economies. A very important trading partner. And I think the evidence of President Trump approving the South Korea treaty recently, initiating the bilateral treaty free trade agreement with Japan, which is a long objective, certainly of mine and others, that's a sign that this is headed in the right direction. We'll use that model for this effort. We'll use the previous TPP negotiations for language. We'll use the previous European-US TTIP negotiations for language to help design that document more quickly.
And can I just say, just having a look at what the president has done in getting NAFTA reformed, you have to fight your corner for the best interest for your country. And the United States, having seen what they have done, and also what you're doing with in Congress, to ensure that your country gets the best trading deal possible. NAFTA wasn't working, so you had to get it, changed and amended so that you ensured that the best interest of the United States was preserved. It's the same thing which we're doing with our European counterparts. We're saying, look, we want a great relationship with you, but our national interest means that having that good relationship with our European counterparts does not deprive us from having that brilliant free trade deals with our other partners around the world. And there's one key point that comes to that. Looking at the reports published by the European Commission, 90% of the trade around the world is going to be outside of the European Union. So the United Kingdom needs to be in that position where we can build those brilliant key trading relationships around the world, and United States, we've made it very clear, is our #1 priority. And I'm absolutely delighted to see what you've done and doing with Japan, and also the changes with NAFTA, because that quite clearly shows that the United Kingdom and the United States, the minute we leave the European Union, we can get that deal done.
Well, it's hard work, and NAFTA is, Jessi, as you know, is essential to Arkansas, both farmers and non-farm products. Canada and Mexico are our largest trading partners. Tyson Foods, the largest export market is Mexico. So I congratulate the administration on getting Canada and Mexico into a reformed North American agreement. I look forward to studying it before we're asked to vote on that in the Congress. But it is a milestone. And I think for viewers, this is not easy work, but it's essential work. And I congratulate the negotiators who I know, having been one years ago, how hard that work is. So to get to this conclusion is good, and I think it's a model for where we can go from here.
But I think also, apart from negotiators, and you're absolutely right, negotiators day in, day out, and those are the ones that are not given the credit in public. They do a great job, but also you need strong leadership. So I think what President Trump has done by pushing and getting these changes done, I think is absolutely crucial, and you pay tribute to the leadership he has shown on these matters.